the $10,000 question right now, and it's something that we're not going to drop, and we'll continue to look into that. I verified yesterday, looking at the actual petition that the mayor signed, the original that was in the courthouse. It contains a few pieces of information that tell us that the mayor was privy to some, what I would call inside information, or information that is not available to the general public, and that she used
her position,
city resources,
yep.
Or an influence to obtain this, that other plaintiffs in her position would not be available. So there is in full her date of birth, for one. Now that can be, someone could get that, at least the days. They don't necessarily have the years, but that could be that. But there's also a social security number, and what's most egregious and what's bizarre about this whole thing is these three pieces of what I call confidential information: the birth certificate, the date of birth, the social security number, but also what appears to be a dated, and I'm talking about late 80s, early 90s photograph. It appears to be a DMV photograph,
oh, boy.
as best we can determine, of Ann Bro back at that time.
Wow.
That's not a picture that's on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere that can be just grabbed. That is a picture that came from a database that is protected under federal law from people going in and accessing that without the authority. Now, I want to remind you and your listeners that this was a civil proceeding. This wasn't a matter, while the police were very much involved, especially as she has an executive protection unit and 4 full-time guys assigned to that. This was not a criminal matter where there was a police report taken. It was submitted to the district attorney's office. The district attorney pressed charges for this. This is a purely civil thing. This is what those, victims of domestic violence or acquaintance, stalking like that, the ex-boyfriend, the ex-husband, things like that. That's what this forum is for. This isn't for, I don't like the way she's taking pictures of me and posting them on social media because they embarrass me and they embarrass my boyfriend. That's what this was about. This case, she should never have had that information. Quite frankly, it's not required to file the petition. I don't even know why she included it, or I suspect that she didn't do it. There was somebody that helped her put this petition together, and she just signed it. But it's not even necessary to, the handful of these I've handled over the past 25 years. That information and pictures isn't available, and it's not required to file these things. But yet the arrogance of this mayor in saying, I'm going to use the city resources or whatever resources I have at my disposal just to pile on, is really what's offensive here. And we fully intend to figure that out, not let that go gentle into that good night.
Yeah, I was going to ask. That's my next question. You're leading right into it. A criminal suit? I mean, the information, the First Amendment, her reputation being tarnished. I mean, I'm sure you can come up with a few other things.
Yeah, and Corey, there's both state law and really federal law. This is given that the mayor appears to have utilized government city resources. You're looking at potentially some, a 1983 action over in federal court on Foigers, as opposed to a state court, at 421 Loyola, where you've got a 1983 actions where it's violation of civil rights under the color of law. That actually, brings in, because she used city employees potentially, either police and or members of different city agencies or sub-agencies. That brings in a whole lot of implications. And, you could even, depending on the number of people, even talk about civil conspiracies. So we are, while Ambro is rightfully been released from the temporary restraining order, this case and the facts surrounding it are far from over.